My name is Michelle. I'm one of the counselors in the counseling center here on campus, and I'm accompanied by one of my colleagues.
Hi, I'm Maria. Same thing. I'm a licensed mental health counselor at NU Counseling Services.
So we're going to start today's presentation with just a little information about coping and stress management, and we're going to tie it into the wind down of the semester as far as how to apply some of these skills and these ideas to any kind of test anxiety or any kind of academic stressors that are going on, and specifically why these things are important and how to target it. So we'll go through our portion, and then Ashley's going to come back and she's going to help kind of walk through some of this through her lovely yoga exercise, so we can just get going. So 3 components that we're going to highlight: self-compassion, self-care, and self-accountability. Why are these things important? Well, at the end of the day, in order to perform our best and do our best in any activities we've got going on, we need to tap into kind of that inner management of everything that's going on. So we'll talk about kind of the dimensions of what helps keep us balanced and focused, and we need to be kind towards ourselves and forgiving of ourselves and very honest with ourselves to promote a healthy perspective, a healthy outlook on ourselves. And then we also have to know what's important and what's valuable, and goals we set and what is important to accomplish and how we can get ourselves there. So I'm going to let Maria talk about self-compassion because this is her thing.
I think sometimes people are under the impression that self-compassion and self-care are kind of woo-woo concepts, but really they really help us be resilient and manage our stress in a healthy way and allow us to accomplish what we want to accomplish. Often our anxiety, we get anxious about things that matter to us, whether it's our relationships, our sense of self, our accomplishments, we get anxious about them. And anxiety's basic message is, don't even try, you can't do this, you might fail. It's so fear-based. So self-compassion is really the counter to that anxiety, perfectionist, negative self-talk. It's very rigid. Self-compassion isn't. So it's a loving, connected presence with ourselves. It's thinking and treating ourselves the way we would treat a friend. We certainly would never talk to a friend the way our self-talk often surfaces within us. So it's allowing yourself to be fully human, a little complicated, a little messy. You don't have to have all the answers. It's allowing you to be conscientious without having to be perfect, which really is an impossible standard and then just sets us up for failure, which then can cause us to shut down and avoid and procrastinate. So really self-compassion, again, allows us to be an imperfect, wonderful human being. I often suggest that if we can look at ourselves the way our dog looks at us, that can be the way of thinking about it, because your dog doesn't care if you get up in the morning and your hair's sticking up and you're in your pajamas with holes in them and your breath isn't the freshest, but your dog is still you're still okay, with me. So it's really turning that kind of unconditional regard towards ourselves again without judgment. It's really taking that judgmental kind of harsh critic out of the picture. One strategy I use to really tap into my self-compassion is to give a name to my self-talk, that negative self-talk. I call her Gwyneth. It gives me some distance, so I know that negative self-talk isn't me. It's not a reflection of my self-worth. We have 50 to 60,000 thoughts a day. Not all of them are accurate or helpful. So if I can distance myself and say, oh, Gwyneth, I know you're trying to be helpful, but honestly, you need a spa day. Like, go sit down. Like, I've got this. I can be compassionate. I can treat myself with some tenderness for my challenges, for my suffering, for my insecurity, rather than judging myself. Often when we get anxious and stressed, or suffering, we then judge ourselves for that anxiety and those challenges and those sufferings. So this is just a different way of looking at it. It's giving ourselves the same empathy that we would so readily give our friends. And it's so much easier to go through life as your own friend than rather as someone that you're always fighting against. So again, self-compassion allows us to be fully human, struggling at times, uncertain at times, complicated, and still treat ourselves with kindness and acceptance. So that acceptance is a big piece of this, and it's accepting the full tapestry of who we are, even those parts that were like, yikes. So self-compassion helps us reduce our stress because it takes out so much of that negative judgment. And sometimes we can be compassionate about our struggle to be compassionate. So sometimes my inner negative Gwyneth surfaces and I believe her a little bit and I'm having a hard day. And sometimes the best I can do is be compassionate that I'm struggling a little today with being compassionate. And I can be compassionate about that. But again, compassion isn't something we do perfectly either. So self-compassion is, again, being a friend to ourselves. And that can be helpful during final exams when, by definition, it's a bit stressful. And we need to get things done.
Lovely, thank you, Maria. Just to piggyback on that, as we're tapping into our self-compassion, we want to highlight our strengths. And so to tie this specifically into the preparation of the end of the semester, noticing what we do really well at, or what we struggle a little bit more at, or what we need to focus a little bit more attention to, and being gentle and kind to ourselves with the things that we're not so good at. So if you're a good writer and are capable of expressing yourself through, writing a paper or putting a project together, but you're not a great test taker, we don't want to have that negative self-talk to say, I'm going to bomb this. What's the point of studying? I'm going to fail anyways. What's the point of putting any effort in? And wanting to really kind of reframe that dialogue that we're having and say, I'm not the best test taker and I know that about myself. And I'm still gonna sit down and study, and I'm still gonna do what I can do to try to improve my chances on this exam. And so that's really kind of removing the judgment, removing the challenge of allowing our inner Gwyneth to monopolize our thought process and really kind of set us up for failure. So if we have a more positive mindset approaching a task or approaching responsibility, if we go in thinking that we're going to be successful, we're more likely to feel successful regardless of the outcome. And if we go in with a failure mindset as though we're going to just bomb it and it's not even worth our time, then we're going to be satisfied with that thought process when we don't do so well. So, research really supports the idea of trying to set yourself up for success through a positive mindset and a positive outlook. And we're more satisfied with the result regardless of where we land when we receive our grade.
If we think about it, anxiety tells us, don't even bother, don't even try. It's not going to go well. And that positive, self-compassionate mindset says, at least give yourself a shot and see what happens. We may not necessarily believe we're going to be entirely successful, but we at least can say, you know what? I'm going to prepare. I'm going to be realistic in my planning, and I'm going to at least give myself a chance. Don't I deserve to do that for myself for things that matter?
So moving to self-care, which is the next component, and an equally valuable piece to this puzzle. It's putting self-compassion into action. So this is nourishing ourselves, mind, body, and spirit. So really having a holistic approach and soothing ourselves. And this can look, and it will look different regardless of who we are, our circumstances, what our environment allows for us, what our interests are, what our passions are, etc. So there's a plethora and a limitless amount of things and activities that would really fit into self-care. So this is not a finite list. We've only scratched the surface, if you can even call it that. So there's different dimensions to who we are and what makes us the people that we are. So we're going to talk today about physically, psychologically, emotionally, spiritually, and socially, those dimensions, and each one of them need to be nourished a little bit. A visual that I use with my students is, if you've ever seen kind of like, I don't even know if it's technically a magic show or an entertainment show of some sort where they're spinning the plates on the sticks and there's multiple plates spinning all at one time, and it's really impressive when simultaneously all those things are happening at one time. And the hope is to get them all going and spinning and staying successfully spinning. But the struggle is what happens when one falls off and crashes and it breaks, and then, okay, so we got to start over, and then, oh, I got to tap this one, and I got to tap that one, and I got to tap this one. So that idea is everything always needs continuous nourishment and attention. And sometimes physically we're going to need a little bit more. Sometimes emotionally we're going to need a little bit more. And sometimes everything's going to feel pretty balanced. So these are all very important, and we approach them differently based on what our circumstances are. So in a physical sense, if we are not taking care of ourselves on the basic level, on a basic human functioning level, the rest of them kind of fall to the wayside. So we need to start here and ensure that we are staying hydrated, we're eating nutritious food, exercising and moving around, and that looks and feels different for everybody. We absolutely need to prioritize our sleep. And some other ideas are practicing some deep breathing and practicing yoga, which you will get to shortly. But all of these things really, they tap into physically a human level that we need for our existence. Sleep, I'm going to just highlight that one. We don't just choose sleep. We need sleep. And so if we don't get it, our bodies will force it upon us, which is why we crash, or why, when given the opportunity, we can sleep for an extended period of time. It's because our body and our organs and all the things within us thrive on it and need it, and they'll shut down if they don't have it. So especially in the time of the semester where there's a lot going on to plan and prioritize, sleep needs to be a higher priority to ensure that you're absorbing the information, that you're being tested on or needing to, bust a paper out or anything like that. And also, if we're not hydrated or fueled in any way, then it's difficult to focus and pay attention, especially through technology. There's all these other distractions and other things going on. So if we're not functioning physically well, it makes it much more difficult to pay attention through the activities that we have. Psychologically, we need to make sure that we are in an okay and healthy mental place. So we talked about reframing those negative thoughts, that inner critic that comes up. Some other good strategies: journaling, it's externalizing our thoughts. We need to take breaks. We're not Energizer bunnies, so we can't just sit down and bust out anything for an extended period of time without pauses and breaks in there. Understanding that, we can only control what's in our absolute control. We got to let go of everything else. we need to set healthy boundaries. So if my friends invite me over, but I've got a huge paper to finish, it's saying, you know what, I have to finish this paper. The deadline is tonight and it's not a good idea for me to go out, things like that. Being realistic with our goal setting, and also just watching, you know, videos, things that kind of replenish or distract us from responsibilities at times as well. Emotionally, it's important to make sure we're feeling our feelings. That's what helps us really find balance and stay afloat, you know, in an emotional sense. So if you're noticing that there's any challenges to that, you can always seek out for some support, and that's where we come in hand here. You know, it's important to tap into creativity, be playful. As a student, there's a lot of responsibility that is constantly on your plate. You're receiving an education and you know, meeting expectations that your professors put out. You know, but sometimes we need to take the student hat off and just put our human self hat on and say, you know, I need to take a break from this, and I need to tap into something that is meaningful for me.
Can I jump into the feelings?
Please.
And with the feelings, we sometimes label them as positive and negative. I think that's a false dichotomy. They're information about what we're experiencing. And again, this is a place where we can take the judgment out of what we're feeling and replace it with some curiosity and openness and exploration, like, I wonder what's going on, rather than judging ourselves for whatever might be coming up.
Yes, excellent. Spiritually, you know, it doesn't always have to be on a religious aspect, but if religion is important and valuable to you, that's something to tap into. If it's reading, you know, reading the Bible or doing devotionals, praying, meditating, being connected with nature, that's a very spiritual practice. And tapping into our surroundings and our environment, and just being in tune with what those needs are and what fills our soul, if you will. And socially, of course, we are biologically programmed as human beings to be connected with each other. You know, in the time of this pandemic, in the time of limitations and social distancing and restrictions, it's very much going against the grain of how we are created as a species, which is making a lot of sense as to why, you know, staying in our homes and having restrictions of being, you know, in the classroom or at activities is really challenging for us. So again, we're tapping into the creativity aspect. How can we remain socially fulfilled with the limitations that we have? So obviously FaceTime or Zoom or Skype or anything like that to see people face to face at a distance is important. When it's safe to do so, meeting up with friends and following safety and health protocols, but you know, being able to spend time with people, being just involved in a sense of community, and that community could be family, it could be friends, it could be something, it could be pets, it could be something on campus, it could be something outside of campus, but just remaining intact with others around you. And so, you know, just tapping into what do I need and taking an inventory of what's available to you and what's not is important. So I always like to throw the exercise out there of, okay, you know, if I had 5 minutes for myself to do something, what would I do that could help put something back into one of these buckets? If I had 10 minutes, what would I do? 30 minutes, 60 minutes, half a day, a full day. Regardless of the amount of time, we can do something, but it's tapping into the opportunity to actually do something. So as you're preparing for finals, as you're preparing for maybe even next semester when that approaches, you know, how do we maintain self-care to replenish ourselves so we can be successful at the activities that we're invested into moving forward. And so our final aspect here is just self-accountability, and it's just acting in alignment with values, goals. I think, and not to jump the gun on this one here, but I think when we are thinking about, what are the challenges that we're facing with self-accountability at this time of the semester, motivation is like the highest populated theme of conversation about that. And we're living, like I just mentioned, in these isolated, socially distant, not as active lifestyles as we once did. If I don't have to leave my house because I don't have to go to class, like that's a lot of change here. And so when we think about motivation, normally you want to wait till we feel motivated. And then once we're motivated, we want to get out there and we want to do it. But that cliche thing that we hear all the time that says if you're waiting around to be motivated, you're going to wait around forever, is so true. It is so true. And what we know is that action truly drives our motivation. And what that means is if we can get up and if we can figure out how to just get started, just get ourselves going, we start to feel accomplishment. And when we can feel a sense of accomplishment, that drives that inner motivation to continue moving in the direction of doing things and having things checked off of our list there. And so just kind of that friendly reminder to yourself to say, I have this paper to write or I have this test to study for. I really don't want to do it. But if I get up and I just start with maybe a half an hour and you utilize that half an hour, it could motivate you to continue doing that or to carve out another sense of time moving forward. And whatever you'd like to add.
And I was just going to say, I think we also have to, while there's an appropriate time for breaks, again, building that self-care piece in, we also have to be aware of what our barriers or distractions that don't support our goals. So if I know that if I go on, I have a paper to write, and I know if I go on TikTok, I'm going to lose 3 hours as opposed to 5 minutes, then maybe that's something that, I put my phone across the room. So it's just being honest with yourself and being aware of what are my distractions, what are my time wasters versus what is actual self-care. So again, just to be mindful of that so that you can accomplish those goals.
So for us to wrap up our portion and then have Ashley get you moving and doing some yoga, we just wanted to give some concrete tips to help reduce anxiety as you're preparing for finals and the conclusion of the semester. And just as a side that we have highlighted is, anxiety makes us feel like we're very out of control of our situation. These strategies can really help you to feel more capable of managing the factors that remain inside of your control. So the first is just make sure you find a quiet environment for whatever work it is that you need to do. If it's sitting down for your final or finishing your papers and projects, it might mean you need to relocate. Also tap into, is my space tidy and organized, and reducing kind of a chaotic feel that surfaces if we are in disorganization or non-cleanliness, things like that. Reducing distraction, just like Maria mentioned. Make sure that your technology is working. I think the last thing that anybody needs is to sit down for an exam and all of a sudden there's an update on your computer that takes, however much time. So, really troubleshoot that. Make sure it's going to be okay and there's not going to be any last second issues. Utilizing some deep breathing. It really helps to provide oxygen to all the extremities of your body and helps to relax you. It's taking control of your breath and feeling calm and relaxed. It's helpful sometimes to have a grounding object that you might have. It helps just trigger sensory pieces to us, which ground us once again. So sometimes it can be like a smooth surface or a textured surface or like a stress ball or putty or anything that has that sensory stimulation to you. You can grab that, and if you couple that with a positive mantra of I'm safe, I'm calm, I'm okay, I'm going to get through this, that coupled together can be really helpful. Give yourself a self-care plan. almost like a reward system. So if you finished your paper, give yourself the opportunity to binge that show on Netflix, or to watch the next episode, or to, to do something that you've been putting off.
Then you can go on TikTok.
Then you can go on TikTok for whatever length of time. It's important that we do replenish ourselves and give ourselves something to reward ourselves after we've done what we need to. Make sure you're getting a good night's rest, staying hydrated, having something nutritious to either eat or snack as you're taking an exam again. We need to make sure that we can stay focused and be attentive, and just having a plan and being prepared. We don't want to, figure these things out at the last possible moment, because things come up. And so if we know where we're going to be located for our exam, or from what time I need to have a reserved space away from my family, or no, I can't babysit my brother at 2 p.m. because I have to log in for a final. Having that and articulating it can be really helpful to reduce the opportunity for interference as you're moving forward. Anything else to
Just
add?
going to throw in something quick about procrastination.
Yes.
It works in the short term, but really poorly, actually. Because if we get anxious, so we push it off to reduce our anxiety, it temporarily reduces our anxiety for like a minute. But then that thing is still looming, it's still on your mind, and so it actually increases your anxiety. And then you can kind of get into this negative cycle where you're pushing it off, reducing your anxiety for a hot second, and then it increases it because it's still there. It's so much easier just to start it and take that anxiety right off your plate.
So we have finished our portion.
Thank you.
Thank you, Caitlin, even though you're the lone wolf here. We appreciate you. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to us. But we're going to have Ashley come on up and configure her yoga situation.
Thank you both.
Thank you. Do you need help?
I don't think so. Okay. Want me to send this down too?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then do I just have to send you the booklets? Or should I send it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I can send it and then.
Yeah, I'll send you a version of them and then
Okay.
we'll go from there.
Okay. Awesome.
Thank
Thanks
you
so
for
much
being
coming.
here,
Ashley.
Yeah.
Enjoy your yoga.
Thank you. All right, Caitlin. And so I don't know if you can still hear me, but so just what Michelle and Maria were saying is we're gonna send over this worksheet, and then they have a couple other packets that are helpful.
Do you mind if we?
Oh, yeah, you're fine.
Alrighty, thank you.
Yeah, see ya. They say, she says thank you too.
Oh,
Yeah.
Tell her we'll give her our contact information too, if she needs to reach out for anything.
Okay, okay. Yeah, we'll have all of our contact information available. Let's see. All right, so I'm gonna do a little reconfiguring first. Second. This should be a little less in the way. Okay, can you see my yoga mat well? You can just type in the chat. Caitlin, can you see the yoga mat well? Okay, perfect. Move this. Okay. Awesome. All right. Let's get started. So we'll come into child's pose. So I'm going to be doing the whole practice with you for the most part. Awesome. So we'll take child's pose. If you have any music that you want to put on as well, feel free to put some gentle music on. Otherwise, come to child's pose. Your head's just gently resting on your mat or your space. Your 10 fingers spread out nice and wide. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Open your mouth, sigh it out. Good. Do that again. Take a full breath in. Open your mouth. Exhale, let it go. Good. And then from here, seal up your lips and come into your ujjayi breath. So you're breathing in and out through your nose. Good. Invitation, opportunity to set an intention for your practice here. Yeah, so why you showed up this afternoon, what you're looking to, leave behind from your day, let go of. Yeah, or if you're here to, like Michelle and Maria were talking about, give yourself some self-care, some self-compassion. And make your way up to a tabletop position. So your shoulders are stacked over your wrists. Toes can be tucked or untucked. And then take a few cat-cows here. So on your inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, press away from your mat. And inhale, look up. Exhale, press down and away. Yeah, so you can keep this vertical, or if you want to shimmy your hips side to side, take it horizontal. Gotta take 3 more. Use your breath. Good, and then make your way back to your neutral tabletop. So nice flat spine. Reach your right hand out like you're shaking someone's hand, left leg long. Good, draw your pinky toe, your left pinky toe down towards your mat. Good, good, stay right here, or you can bend your left knee and reach behind. Yeah, you can stay or reach. Switch sides. Left hand long, right leg follows. Flex your toes towards your shins. Draw the crown of your head towards the front of your room, front of your space. Good, stay or bend your right knee. Peel open. Release. Good, tuck your toes and lift your hips high, downward facing dog. And start to pedal out through your feet, start to walk your dog. Your gaze, your drishti is right between your big toes. Walk your feet to your hands. Bring your feet hip-width distance, opposite hand, opposite elbow, ragdoll. And bend your knees so much that your whole chest just hangs on your thighs. Nod your head yes and no. Yeah, what can you let go of right here, right now in this moment? Release your elbows. Toe heel your feet together. Inhale, halfway lift, flat spine. Exhale, fold. Press down into your feet, rise up, extended mountain. Exhale and fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, high to low plank. Upward facing dog. Heart opens. Downward facing dog, hips high. Good, take a big breath in. Sigh it out. Okay, come high onto your tippy toes and walk to the front of your mat. Use your core here. Halfway lift, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Rise on up, extended mountain. Exhale, bow forward. Inhale, flat spine. Plant your hands down, step or jump back, high to low plank. Option to drop your knees here. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. And take 3 breaths here. On empty, step or hop forward. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Reach tall, extended mountain. Exhale, bow forward. Halfway lift. High to low plank. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. And step your right foot forward, warrior one. Good, so your back foot will spin flat. Check in with your hips here, make sure both are squared towards the front of the room. If they're not, just widen your stance, take up a little more space. And then reach your arms up. Point your pinkies in towards one another, biceps towards your ears. Drop your shoulders, drop your hips, drop your pelvis, sink low. Take one more big breath in. Exhale, hands to your mat, high to low plank. Upward facing. Downward facing dog. Step your left foot forward, warrior one. Okay, ground down through the 4 corners of both of your feet. So really press down into your feet, press down to lift and reach up. Yeah, you're strong warrior. Take one more breath in. Exhale, hands to your mat, flow high to low. Option to drop your knees or press right back to down dog. Take a full breath in. Empty, let it go. Bend your knees, step or hop forward. Halfway lift. Fold forward. Chair pose, Utkatasana. Good. Bring your hands to your hips. Yeah, and then press your hands down. Yeah, sink low. Press down and out through your feet. Yeah, so really feel your quads, your glutes engaged. Arms reach up. One more breath in. Exhale, fold over. Flat spine. Step back, high to low, or press right back to down dog. And take a big breath in. Let it go. Step your right foot forward, warrior one. And on your exhale, open to warrior two. Yeah, so your front heel should be right in between the inner arch of your back foot. But yeah, and if I had your favorite tray of cookies or brownies or desserts right here, would you be able to lay that nice and flat on your front thigh? Good, flip your front palm, go back, reach back. Cartwheel and flow, high to low. Upward facing. Downward facing dog. Step your left foot forward, warrior one. Open to warrior two. Good, stay and breathe, Ujjayi breath. Draw your shoulder blades in towards your spine. And then keep your gaze at one fixed point at the front of your room. Yeah, let everything soften in your jaw, in your shoulders. Go a little bit lower. Flip your front palm, reach back, peaceful warrior. Hands to your mat, high to low plank. Up dog. Downward facing dog. We're going to take one more sun B here. Look forward, step or jump. Halfway lift. Bow forward. Chair pose. Bow forward. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, plant your hands down, high to low plank. Inhale for up dog. Exhale for downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward, warrior one. Open to warrior two. Peaceful, go back, reach back. Cartwheel and flow. And up dog, down dog, left side, warrior one. Yeah, we're moving. Open to two. Peaceful, reach back. Hands to your mat. And always the option is just press right back to downward facing dog. And take a big breath in. Sigh it out. Look forward, step or jump. Flat back. Fold forward. Chair pose. Bring your hands to heart center. Lengthen your spine on your inhale. Good, and then on your exhale, bring your left elbow to your right knee. You can stay here. You can make your top hand a fist. You can open up floor to ceiling. Stay and breathe. You've got this. Come back to chair. Bow forward. And split your feet mat width distance. Bring your peace sign fingers to your big toes. Take a halfway lift. And then bow over your legs. So I'd really think about pressing your feet down into your fingers. Whew, it's hard to do this with a mask. Yeah, let everything go in your upper back. Find softening between your shoulder blades. Release your toes. Bring your feet back to touch. Halfway lift, flat spine. Bow forward. Chair pose. And hands to prayer. Lengthen and take the twist. Right elbow, left knee. And bring your thumbs towards your sternum. And then stay or open floor to ceiling. Yeah. What do you have to twist out, rinse out, let go of? Come back to chair. And then fold forward. Walk onto your hands for gorilla. So you're gonna slip your palm under your left foot, then your right foot. Use your toes as like a little massage for your wrist creases. Your gaze up towards your belly button. Walk off of your hands. Toe heel your feet back to touch. Take a halfway lift. Forward fold. And press down, rise up, extended mountain. Arms to goalpost arms. This might be easier. Right arm under, right leg up and over eagle. Good, draw your elbows towards your knees. Unravel to airplane. Yeah, so your hands can be at heart center or they can be reaching out. Good, stay or open. The half moon. And your right foot will meet your left. Rise back up to stand. Goalpost arms. Left arm under. Left leg up and over eagle. Hinge from your hips with a nice flat back. And then open up to airplane. Same options, yeah, maybe this time you interlace your hands at the small of your back. Good, or stay. Dial your left pinky toe down towards your mat, hips are squared. You can open up to half moon. And your left foot will meet your right. Rise back up to stand. Tree pose, right side. Good, so your left foot will plant down Your right foot could be a little kickstand, any point of your leg, just not your knee. Option to cross your right ankle over your left knee too, if you want like a little bit of a hip opener. Release, switch sides. Tree pose, left side. And if you find like you're dumping into your right hip, draw your right hip into your center line. Yeah, you automatically grow like 1 inch taller. Press your hands in together, draw your shoulder blades together. And you can stay, you can grow your tree. And release, reach up nice and tall. Exhale and fold. Halfway lift, high to low plank. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Good, shift to high plank. Drop your knees and come all the way down onto your stomach. Then bring your arms into a T and then drop your right cheek onto your mat. Lift your left foot up and over. You can use your left hand as a little levy, just a little shoulder opener here. Come back to center. And lift your right foot up and over. And come back to center. From here, we're going to bring our forearms down onto our mat, setting up for Sphinx pose. Yeah, so draw your shoulder blades back towards the back of the room. Your chest is drawing forward. A little bit of a back bend here. Good. Release. Bring your arms alongside your body. Good. Bring your chin to the center of your mat. Take a breath in. Exhale and go up, lift up, locust. Yeah, so think about pressing your pelvis down towards your mat. Lift your thighs, your chest up. Good, come down. Take a breath in. Exhale, sigh it out. Go back up, locust or floor bow. You want to bend your knees, catch your ankles, kick your feet up towards the ceiling. Lift one more rib off your mat, and then come down. Rest onto one cheek. Windshield wiper your legs side to side. Bring your hands underneath you, press up to an upward facing dog. And send your hips back, down dog. And come onto your knees. We're gonna set up for a bridge pose. Yeah, so you're gonna lie right on your back. We might be going over a couple minutes over for if that's okay with you, I hope. Good, so from here, you'll plant your feet down into your mat. Both feet face 12 o'clock on a clock. With your hands, you should be able to reach for your heels. Good, from here, press down into your feet, lift your hips up, bridge pose. Shimmy your right shoulder blade under, then your left. Good. Press down, lift a little higher, and then come down. Take a big breath in. Exhale, let it go. Then we're going to take two more. So bridge pose or full wheel. You want to take full wheel, reaching your hands overhead. Press up. Good. Press down, lift a little higher for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come down. Then we're going to do one more bridge or full wheel. Get ready. Get set. And go. Yes, for 5, 4, Lift a little higher, 3, 2, and 1. Come down. And Supta Baddha Konasana, bring the soles of your feet together. One hand on your heart, the other on your belly. Pause here. Yeah, pause here and just thank yourself for showing up for yourself, for taking some time for some self-care. Yeah, pause here and feel some gratitude for yourself, for being able to show up on your mat. And from here, you can stay right on your back. Press your right ankle over your left knee, and then reach through that space that you create. Both feet are flexed, toes towards your shins. Press your right elbow into your right inner thigh. Yeah, you should feel this in your hip. I like to rock side to side. Yeah, and then once something feels extra juicy in my hip, I just stay there. And switch sides. Left ankle over right knee. Reach through. You can stay still or rock. Yeah, still coming into your Ujjayi breath. Send your breath to your hips. And release. Slowly rise up to a seated position. Bring both legs long on your mat. Reach up nice and tall. Exhale and fold. Tuck your chin, slowly come back up. Bring your right leg long and your left foot in. Good, reach up tall and bow forward. Keep your right hand on your right foot. Reach and open with your left hand. Bring your left hand to your hips. Press up. Feel the side body stretch. Come down. And bring your left leg long, right foot in. Reach up nice and tall, grow tall. Inch from your hips forward. Nice flat back. Keep your left hand, you can open and reach with your right. Bring your right hand down to your hip. Press and reach. Lower down. Good. From here, we're going to come into our final inversion. So something to get your feet flowing down towards your heart. So there's a few options you could take. You could just bring your hips underneath a block or a book, a textbook, and then you could press your feet up. Or you could take shoulder stand, bringing your elbows in. Yeah, just something to move the blood flowing. Okay. Slowly come back down. And from here, lay on your back. Draw your right knee into your chest. Take it over to the left side of the room. Open your arms into a T. And come back to center. Switch sides. Hug your left knee in. Give it a big squeeze. And then take it over to the right. Look and reach to the left. And back to center. Bring your legs out wide, arms out wide. And close your eyes, setting up for your Shavasana. Yes, movement for your body is like stillness for your mind. So just use these next 30 seconds or so to be fully still, fully to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Open your mouth, clear it out. And reach your arms overhead. And then draw your knees into your chest, rock onto your right side. Slowly make your way up to a seated position. Bring your hands to your heart. And then bring your thumbs to your third eye center. And we'll close out practice today together by saying namaste. Awesome work.